What's going on, guys, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Galactic Explorers Podcast. I am your host, Lunchbox, and today, unfortunately, we're only joined by one of our usual guests, and that is Phil. How are you doing, Phil?
Good. How is everybody?
I'm fine. Obviously, no James today, or no Craig, so yes, it's just us two today. A little mono a mono.
Yes.
Yeah. So, this past week has been eventful, to say the least, on the No Man's Sky front. Obviously, No Man's Sky is IGN's first of the month again, second time around. So it's been nice to actually see it come back round again with more features being shown off.
Yay.
Yeah, a big yay, definitely. It's nice to be able to see some of the actual features being put into work rather than them just saying that we're having this in the game or having that in the game. So what did you pick up?
I was almost enticingly overwhelmed with everything. As you remember in the last podcast, I said I kept myself in the dark for quite some time now, so this was just like a visual orgy for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I was overwhelmed with all the thoughts that went through my head. I took a whole page of notes.
Awesome. So, where should we really start off? It's a bit, like you said, there's so much that they've shown us just in these two videos.
There was, and I actually, just like anything really good, I came up with more questions than anything. The first thing I thought of, because my mind likes to explore while I'm listening, when he was talking to the NPC character.
Right, yes.
And he was like influencing, you really need to like befriend somebody.
Yeah.
When I start playing, aside from all the goofiness we talked about, I'm thinking to befriend the first race I find, so I can get a good standing with them as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Like learn everything about that initial planet before I leave.
Yeah.
And then take off and get going real fast. But I think if you initially like really grab a hold of the first alliance you can get a hold of and build it as quick as you can, it'll get you to the center quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love the fact that they've added NPCs. I mean, I don't think there was ever a point they actually said there would never be NPCs in the game, but actually seeing them show them off now and things. I mean, we've only seen one species, and he has said species, so obviously there is going to be more than just the Korvax. It is Korvax that they're called, isn't it?
I think that was the one they were on.
Yeah. They've got like big TV heads, haven't they? They just look so cool.
I know, it kind of reminded me of an old school MTV commercial.
Yeah. Or like original Battlestar Galactica, those kind of aliens.
Yeah. So. And that was something else I noted down in here. The graphics.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they did the graphics because nowadays everybody's about that shiny, glossy,
realistic,
specular. And they stayed away from that. It almost looks cartoonish.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Definitely. I think that is the first thing that actually drew me to the game was its appearance. I think that is the case with a lot of games for me, though, really. I am a very visual person, so if I see something that I like, I see something what I like first, and then everything else comes afterwards. So it could look like the prettiest game, and if it just doesn't, like the controls don't work well or anything like that, it wouldn't bother me as long as the game looked pretty.
I know, right? I have dealt with some games that are so beautiful, but they got so many bugs in them, it drives me nuts, and I still play it. Sometimes I'll just sit there and stare at the graphics. I won't even move. I won't even be doing anything.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling, I might be wrong, and I kind of hope I am, but I got a feeling most all the NPCs are going to be humanoid. 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head.
Probably, yeah.
There's a piece of me that's hoping there's more to it than that. Like a Jabba the Hutt type of character.
That would be quite cool, yeah.
something completely Star Trek where there's like no body, it's just floating matter or something. I've noticed they have skimped on some things, and I don't think it'll be too much of a problem except for grievers.
Right.
But there is a slight bit of genericness to certain things, like animal movement looks a little clunky still.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like cloned. Like, they might be going two different directions, but if it's the same animal, you'll notice in part of that IGN, there's two flying bat-like creatures.
And they fly exactly the same way.
Their wings are going up and down in the exact same cloning pattern, even though they're kind of not going the same direction.
But I mean, possibly, like, because you play Ark, they introduce new animals, don't they, every so often?
Yeah.
And obviously that gives them time. Obviously, so none of the animals are procedurally generated, and it gives them time to work on individual animals as movements and little things. Whereas obviously all these animals, they haven't created any of these animals. All these.
Right.
So what might be going on is, the appearance-wise, they're all procedurally generated, but they follow a rough, same movement pattern and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I think they did it on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too much of. I'm guessing it's. Yeah, you're probably right. Like saying that the butt heads are going to be all complaining about it, but I think if you take the whole game into aspect and you look at it thinking, right, it's not practical for them to go around creating a completely different spinal column movement and things for individual animals.
But yeah, I think there's a little bit of clunkiness going, or not really clunkiness, just a generic form of movement and generation for certain things, so they can, I mean, light years apart planets. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's got to take some programming.
Yeah. I mean, they've still got time. Obviously, we've still got 69 days or 68 days till the game is released. I mean, obviously there's not going to be any hard coding going on now, like creating new content. I imagine, like I said, they said that the game is still in, it's in testing at the minute. And obviously, they have testers playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, technically, when this comes out, it's like almost in alpha state still, you know?
Well, yeah, they said they're going to still release updates for the game, aren't they? So
yeah. And man, are the rumors flying on that stuff too.
Yeah.
I was reading a post last night and trying to backtrack it and see if it was like legit or not.
Right.
And I couldn't. But everything they wrote was very intriguing, you know. It hooked me. And then today, before the podcast, I was trying to research it again so I could bring it up, and the page had been removed.
That would strike me as it was a fake.
Yeah, exactly.
Person, yeah.
And it looked so legit too. So, like, you know, reader beware.
Yeah.
If it is not a video with Sean Murray's face in it, I don't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there is going to be speculation. I mean, the speculation about every single game that you that is still in development and coming out with high anticipations and things. More so probably with No Man's Sky because how secretive they are with the game. But yeah, like you said, though, there will always be rumors going around about it. I mean, going back to the graphics about the game, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously in the actual IGN video, he's holding a PlayStation controller, but it is wired. So I'm just wondering, is the actual game running on PC at the minute in that video?
Right, because you can use...
Yeah, you can get PlayStation controllers that'll work with the PC.
You know what, though? I like to look at side details.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point, because I was looking at the HUD and, like, buttons that he was pushing. And to back out of the menu that he was in, it said push option.
Yeah, it will say that, though, like, if you plug in a Xbox 360 controller into a PC, it will come up on the game that you're playing with the Xbox controller buttons. And things like that, so it'll
still a mystery there.
Yeah.
I don't use controllers on my computer. I prefer the mouse and keyboard setup.
Yeah.
I always have.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Is it going to be comfortable to fly around in on PC using a mouse and
I
keyboard?
think if you're comfortable with that type of setup, you'll be comfortable, which I am.
See, I've never been comfortable. I can walking around like first-person shooters on PC. I can use keyboard and mouse, but when it comes to like when I play GTA on the PC, walking around is fine. But when you get into a car, I'm just like, I need a controller because it just feels so strange trying to drive with mouse and a keyboard.
What I like about keyboard and mouse is spaceship flying, because you got your pitch and your yaw and your tilt and your forward and your rear and stuff, and
all in the mouse.
In the mouse and in the keyboard. Like, you can usually still strafe and forward and backward with WASD, but then your Q and E will do your pitch and roll and stuff, and you got your mouse to keep your head straight.
Yeah. But,
cars, I do agree with you. I do not play any racing games because a mouse just is not right.
It's just so strange, isn't it? Trying to. But yeah, so it's like I said, it's still a mystery. I mean, the looking at the actual video, the wire goes behind his chair that he's sitting on, and obviously they're looking at the screen, what's behind the camera. So obviously wherever this wires going, it's behind his chair and going somewhere. So I don't know if the actual computer's behind his chair. I mean, that's got to be a pretty long wires for the PlayStation to go behind his chair and then all the way back behind the set and stuff. So, and obviously PC wires, you tend to be able to buy PC wires that are longer rather than console wires. So, but yeah, it's like I said, it's still a mystery. I mean, like I said, I just thought because the graphics look very clean in the demo that it was showing off, that it could possibly be running on PC, but we'll never know, obviously.
I wanted to kind of touch on something else that similar to the cloned movement and the procedural generation.
Okay.
I don't know if this is true or not, and I don't know if you know the answer, but is the languages, the different alien languages, are they procedurally generated? Or did they like come up with it like Klingon? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the reason why I'm asking this is because it seems like that is a huge part of the game.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's...
And I think that could be one of the first types of mods that we will see from independent modders.
Possibly,
is a cheat code or a mod to learn the language, like Star Trek's little doohickey that, makes everybody speak English.
I'm guessing it's probably put in the game, just because obviously there wasn't any mention about NPCs a year or so ago.
Right.
So if they have been put into the game since then, they're obviously not trying to create NPCs with, like you said, procedural generation and then assigning languages to them might have been too tricky. So maybe, like I said, because there is more than just one species, obviously I'm guessing they'll all have different languages.
Yep. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, so it's... I don't know, but it is a good question, really.
I think it would be easier for them to use some sort of algorithm.
Yeah.
But in turn, I think that'll make it easier for modders and cheaters to make something to crack it. Whereas if they literally had like language arts professors come up with a new language, that's going to be hard. That'll be a lot harder to break. So I'm kind of hoping they did it that way. But I don't know. It was something I thought about because of the way the text was when he was talking to the NPC.
Yeah.
Just the way the alien words looked, it kind of looked generated like when you use the generator to come up with a name on WoW.
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah. Another thing is, I can't remember in the video. Did the NPCs have actual voices?
I did not hear any. No.
No. So I was thinking if they did have voices, maybe they teamed up with the guys who did the music. Was it 65 Days of Static?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe they teamed up with them, and obviously because of their type of music, they worked with them in some way to create the vocal noises for the alien words or something.
Possibly, yeah.
We just don't know. Obviously, I mean, once the game comes out, I'm guessing there's going to be documentaries or like the special edition version or something, or some kind of DVD will probably come out at some point on how they developed the whole game and stuff.
Right.
Or even like when they're doing the interviews when the game is released, questions will come up and they'll answer them there and then. But no, that is a good point though. That is a really good point. I like that. I like that a lot. So what else have you've written down on your notepad of gloriness?
Oh, geez, so many things. The hacking facility or the facilities. Remember how he was talking where he blasted the door open and got in a big old fight, but he said it's better to hack the facilities.
Yeah.
And then later on, he blew up the freighter to show that you can get stuff out of the freighter.
Yeah, yeah.
That's more like a smash and grab.
Yeah, that's like
I want to know if you can hack the freighters rather than engaging them in combat, sneak in, hack their back panel or something and get the goods and go without being detected. That would be awesome. I hope there's some. I've always been the kind of roguish, sniperish kind of guy.
Sneaky.
I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fun to get in and get out without getting caught, you know.
Well, they haven't mentioned anything about being able to leave your ship in space, so
right.
But
if you could like
land or something,
hack it from your ship to just open the cargo bays, you know, remotely, something like that would be awesome.
It might be one of the technologies, because we don't know if the technologies are procedural generated either.
Right, that's what I'm hoping for. So I'll be looking.
It could be, because it said you can upgrade your ship, so that's obviously going to be like your engines, your weapons, and your shields at least.
Right.
Maybe sensors.
And he said you could full on be a pirate. You could be a space pirate.
Yeah,
and if I was a pirate, that's how I would steal stuff.
That's true. That is true. But then you'd be more like a thief than a pirate, wouldn't you? Because pirates tend to take things by force.
Not always, but yeah. I mean,
well, they tend to have a mix, don't they? Yes, like you said.
Yeah. If they feel like they can take you on, they'll kill your whole village.
Exactly.
But if they don't and they still want the goods, they'll find a way in and get out.
Maybe. But maybe that's where more of the on planet and in the space stations comes in, where you can obviously hack the doors. Maybe that's their version of this sneaky way.
Plus, for all those grievers out there, I mean, he did say if you do possibly find another person, you can grieve them.
Yeah, that is true. He did say
That's how I would steal somebody's stuff. Wait for them to land and go explore, and then sneak up to their ship, grab their stuff, and go.
Yeah. But yeah, it is interesting, like what possible upgrades you can do for like not just your ship, but obviously for yourself. Because he said that they also work in tandem together. So some will just upgrade, like you'll get new technologies from scratch. So like the what was it, like the excavator module that he puts onto his gun, so he can dig in.
Oh yeah.
So he can dig tunnels and things. But then obviously some will work together. So like upgrading your, like you said, is it oxygen supply and stuff like that. How strong your shield is as well. But you can put them next to other ones and they'll give you added bonuses and things.
Right. Yeah. I was listening to that too.
So it's interesting to see. Obviously, that's going to be on your suit and your gun, but what, like you said, what other ones can you fit to your ship as well?
And what other things can you get? Like he showed the little base that he went into and talked to the guy, and you can use that as a save point. So that way, if you die on that planet, you'll respawn back there at that. But that was just like a small little hut.
Yeah.
Basically. And he said there are much bigger structures and bases.
Yeah, he did say that,
that
there isn't going to be anything like cities or towns in... I mean, maybe there could be like small villages or something, but nothing like a city scale.
Well, I'm thinking if, you find a nice enough, big enough one, and this is on a second note I will hit here as soon as I'm done saying this, but you find a nice one that you like, a facility that's got like forges and stuff in it possibly.
Right, yeah.
To be able to like store your extra goods, things like that, And on that note, the goal is to get to the center.
Yeah.
But you can keep playing on forever and ever and ever. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming the center will be where eventually the most amount of players will be.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm coming up with more of a storyline for myself, if you will.
Yeah. But
I am going to make my way to the center as quick as I can without getting sidetracked, which I know I will. But once I make it to the center, I want to shoot back away from the center, pick a planet that's like in the outskirts.
Yeah.
And make that like my base, if you will, or something along those lines.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, obviously we don't know what is at the center, so if it is, you get there and it's shoots off into another galaxy, is there going to be a way to even get back to that starting galaxy? Once you get to this new one, or once you get there, that's it. It's pretty much working from scratch again. You got to work your way from the edge of that galaxy to the center again. So
I don't know. I mean, there's so many speculation at what's at the center.
Yeah.
My mind just keeps going to the fact that the closer you get, the more congested it will be. Mm-hmm. Planets will be closer together. Galaxies will be closer together. Yeah. Eventually, the center. I see the center as a multiplayer hub, if you will.
Yeah, because obviously everyone's going to be working towards that main goal eventually.
And I just keep visualizing, super advanced, high tech, been here the longest in the entire multiverse.
Yeah.
Alien races and stuff like that. And once everybody gets there, it will be so congested with people. I'm gonna back off a ways and get away from the grievers.
Yeah,
because they're just gonna have a heyday if my theory's correct.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking
you could get to the center and it'll shoot you out right back to the edge or something. You got to start all over.
Possibly. I mean, I'm thinking that for me, I'm just gonna go with the flow. So I may never even get to the center of the galaxy to find out what's there, and then that's it. I mean, like I said, I'm just going to go with the flow because I'm obviously going to be playing it and recording my series at the same time. I can't just make that as my main goal. I've got to explore because it's an exploration game, isn't it? It's not
exactly.
It's not a race to get to the center of the galaxy game. It's to explore what's out there. Technically they've not created the game. They started off. They put the building blocks together, and then they just let it expand like when you're growing, like when you grow mold when you're at school for a science experiment, and obviously you put your little bit of bacteria in a petri dish, leave it over for about a week, and then obviously you see all the bacteria's grown, hasn't it, and expanded and things. It's the same thing. They created the small building blocks, left it to grow or whatever, and it expanded into this thing. So they don't know what's in the game. We don't know what's in the game. So there's no point not looking to see what you can find.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, the competitive part of me wants to get to the center as quick as possible, but like I said, I know I'm going to get sidetracked.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to video log it all too. And, on that aspect, as we are companions within this game before it's even started.
Yeah.
In my mind, I feel that it's already multiplayer. We're already on a team, if you will.
Yeah.
We have goals and ideas for the podcast and the videos. And it's like, if we were for real galaxies apart, but somehow had magic technology like the internet so we could speak to each other.
Yeah.
We're going to relay information back and forth. Hey, I figured out how to do this. Hey, you need to do that.
For sure.
You know,
there's going to be.
So that's no different than talking on an intercom inside the spaceship to somebody you can't see.
Yeah.
You know,
I can imagine, like, especially the Facebook group that obviously we're part of. That's going to be just a central hub for people taking pictures.
Definitely.
Look, you find plutonium on these planets with the green stones or whatever, and things like that. I mean, like you said in the video, they've built a wiki-proof game, really, haven't they? Like,
right at the moment, anyways.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, obviously, like I said, you'll be able to say, like I said, the silicon or the red rocks or whatever.
Right.
But apart from that, you can't really do much about it. But like I said,
right, you never know what planet they're actually going to be on.
Exactly.
You got to find them.
And,
but on that note too, and I don't want to interrupt you, but like I said, I got so many notes.
Yeah, no, it's fine, man.
When he was talking about harvesting the silicone, he was making points on the planets themselves. Certain planets, colder planets, will have like silicone.
Yeah.
More toxic planets are probably going to have more volatile chemicals to harvest.
Mm-hmm.
It looks to me like each planet is a singular biome. Did you notice that? Like,
yeah, I mean, he has.
I did not
that.
see like a planet with like a tropical band in the center and ice caps on the top and bottom. It's either all icy.
That.
Are they like that? Like,
yeah,
if the planet's icy, the whole planet's going to be icy.
Yeah, he says you don't get the complete vast biomes like we have on Earth. So obviously, the further north and further south you go, it's extremely cold, and obviously in the middle it's boiling hot. Because what they're trying to get is the planets to be more like ones that you see in Star Wars or in Star Trek, where you go to them and they are predominantly one type of biome, aren't they? So like if you go to, like in Star Wars, if they went to the Endor, it was pretty much just a forest planet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the reason because they did this is so people can find things easier as well. So obviously, if they are looking for things like that, and it's easier to associate it with, instead of having to remember the name of the planet, you can say, oh, it's that forest. It was a forest planet that I found this on, rather than saying, oh, it's this planet where it's got 30% forest, 60% ice, or something like that.
Right, and it kind of looks to me like, they did use the scale of the further away the planet is from the sun, the colder it will be.
Yeah.
So you will have a general idea, okay, I get to this next solar system, I need to hit the outer planets to get my silicone and work my way in to get the other ones.
Yeah. So it may not have, obviously, like, the vast amount. I mean, it also says about the biomes that there will be some degrees of difference on the planet in the biomes. So if you do get a planet that's like it's always raining, you will get parts where it stops raining for a while, or it's an absolute downpour, or it's just a small drizzle. So it's not like it's constantly one setting, so to speak. So if you went on a desert planet, that wouldn't constantly be just sun beaming down on you. You may also get sandstorms or certain things like that. So there will be like not a vast, but like a small deviation during your time on the planet. So it does changes up and things. But also you got nighttime as well, haven't you, and daytime and things.
Yeah, and he said the temperature will fluctuate depending on day and night.
Yeah, and your closeness to the sun, and obviously.
And the closer to the center of the planet too, it seems like.
Yes.
Because like when he blew his way in, he instantly warmed up.
Yes, so there is obviously going to be some deviation on planets.
But I like the fact that they did the planets like that.
Yeah.
because that
It makes it
actually
easier.
it makes it easier, and it forces you to go from planet to planet.
Yeah.
Because if you could get a little bit of everything for one planet, hey, this is a cozy planet. I'll just hang out here forever. And he don't want that. He wants people to explore.
Yeah. So, what I think, because we've got so much things to talk about, we'll do this in a double episode. So next episode, we'll carry on with your notes and obviously whatever else content comes out. Because I've got one question from a member of the audience to ask. Well, not to ask, but a topic for us to talk about.
Okay.
This comes from Samuel. This comes from Samuel Medina from the Facebook page. He suggests that we could talk about situations on planets where there is toxicity and parasitic organisms, and also could there be like parasites that could spread across the galaxy, obviously killing off animals and things like that. So is there possible like illnesses within the game as a status effect maybe, or as possibly a mission where you've got to cure an animal or something?
Or a race or something.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a good question, Sam. I haven't even thought of anything that small of a scale that could be spread that far.
I mean, if you class it as toxicity, I mean, they have said that there'll be planets with acid rain on them. So obviously the acid is toxic to whoever you are, really, isn't it? So, but obviously, I'm guessing there's going to be planets like gas planets or like swampy planets where they spew out toxic gases to you and things like that. I mean, I do like the idea of parasites as a status effect. So you could obviously you're not able to stay in hot temperatures rather for the usual amount of time that you can do without this parasite or this status effect affecting you. So if you go to a desert planet, usually you could stay on there half an hour or something, and then. But if you have this parasite, you can only stay on there for 15 minutes instead, before you need to sort out your suit and things like that.
Boy, you could almost imagine and visualize a whole podcast just around something like that.
Exactly. It's crazy to think what...
The first thing I thought of was, different planets, different aliens can live in different atmospheres.
Yeah.
What if you go to one planet and pick up something that's totally inert on that planet, but you take it to another planet and that actually affects
massively,
life forms or something?
Yeah. It would be crazy to
annihilate a whole planet.
Yeah, it would be crazy to think what the dangers could be in such things. I mean, I'm guessing more than likely there won't be anything to that kind of scale, but possibly as player status effects, it could be possible.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, they do have the temperature gauges. So obviously, if you're on a really, really cold planet, you can only stay on there for a certain amount of time. So,
right.
It would be cool to see what happens.
Yeah, because I mean, there could be some sort of an arc. They call it torpor.
Right.
Like, if your torpor gets too high, you'll pass out.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So something like if you don't get off the planet quick enough, you could literally just pass out and then run out of oxygen and die because you can't move.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah, it is. So thank you for your question, Samuel. I'll make sure to tag you in the post on Facebook when I posted this video up. But yes, guys. So if you have any topics that you want us to talk about, please comment in the description not in the description, but in the comments down below. Also, when I do post this video onto the Facebook group, and if you are a member of the group, comment in the comment section on that as well. So, but I think, like I said, we'll cut it from here and carry on next episode talking about the notes that we've taken down and obviously any other features that get revealed in the meantime. So, thank you for joining me, Phil.
Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure.
It is indeed a pleasure. And from me to you guys, I will see you next time.